Hello and welcome to the Craft Beer Corner. For today's beer review, we are jumping into the fourth installment of our Tavour review series. For those of you that did not catch the first and you don't know what Tavour is, they're a company based out of Washington State that you can kind of think of as an inside man in the world of craft beer. They get their hands on craft beers from all over the country and work with importers and brewers globally to get really hard to find beers that you really probably won't ever get the opportunity to try outside of here. These are beers that are so popular and so held in such high regard that even in the home cities where they're brewed, people have a hard time getting them because they sell out that quickly upon their release. But with Tavour, they work and get cases of these, and I have it through their app, which is through the Apple, available through the Apple App Store. I'm sure they have it for Android. They may even have a full website. But the gist is you sign up, it's free to sign up, and for a flat rate, you can pick as many beers over the course of, I think it's on average 3 to 5 week window, and they have new beers that rotate in daily, and you kind of pick which ones you want, how many of whatever you want, and they'll ship it all to you, however many you fill up in your beer crate in that amount of time for one flat fee. But it lets you get your hand on some really incredible beers that are very, very hard to get indeed. Today's episode, we are doing a review of 3 sour beers. These are going to be some interesting ones. All 3 of these, again, are beers I have never had. I have had beers from 2 of the brewers in this lineup. One is completely new, but I have never had any of these offerings. We're starting today with the Evil Twin, their Sour Sun Saft. This is a sour IPA, and I believe it's brewed with black currant and mint. I know they read it, yeah, black currant and mint. So that would be really interesting. Sour IPA, that's at 8% ABV. Evil Twin is out of New York. The second beer in today's review is from the Rare Barrel. This is their Entanglement, which is a sour golden ale. That's 6% ABV. They're based out of California, and there are some other additives in here. It's aged in oak barrels, and they added orange zest and vanilla bean. So that ought to be a really interesting one. And then finally, Prairie Artisan Ales. Most people know them. They're based out of Oklahoma. This is their Rainbow Sherbet Sour Ale, which has rainbow sherbet flavors added in it. This is 5.2% ABV on this one. So really, really excited to try all of these. I'm a big fan of sour beers, and it's always nice to try new ones and just see how other people do their sours. The marketplace isn't yet inundated with them like they are with IPAs, so getting your hands on a new, exciting sour is always fun for me. So without further ado, we'll get this started with the Evil Twin Sour Sun Saft, the sour IPA at 8% ABV. All right, jumping straight in with the Evil Twin Sour Sun Saft. This is the sour IPA. Really kind of a neat label on there. Purple got some, what almost looks like a purple mint, like the little mints that they have wrapped in the clear cellophane, but this one's kind of purple. It's got a little almost green nod to the mint that's in this one as well. So let's go ahead and get this cracked and poured into the glass here. Oh, that's a very lovely beer. It's actually kind of an orangey pink rose color, if you will, to it. It's very, very, very effervescent. Very, very, very effervescent. Really got a nice tight formed head on top, which is rather indicative of an IPA, though it's not something I normally associate with sours, but yeah, sour IPA, this ought to be interesting. I'm a fan of both styles. Let's see how they marry. Wow, that smells really nice up front. The fruit just come through in spades. And you do get a little hint of that mint on the background as well. Got a very nice pronounced strong flavor. And you can pick out the hops in here, and you can pick out the sours. So the aroma is big. And you can smell all the independent players that are going into this beer. It smells really good. It's not a flavor combination I would have ever thought of, but it smells like they're going to pair very, very well together. So let's go ahead and give this a sip. That's a really nice beer. Oh man. Oh gosh, what a lovely, long, complex finish. Okay. Ah, that's so nice. That's so nice. All right. Up front, you get the hops that are in the beer, and you get the fruit, and then it dissipates into a twinge of mint. But the long, long finish on it kind of goes in a big arc, but it's not a straight bell curve. It's not an even distribution. At least once you get from about the 50 to 60% way through the finish on it, it just kind of arcs and plateaus. It never really works its way back down. And the predominant flavor is caraway seed. It's the seeds that are in rye bread that give it that distinct flavor. That's exactly what this tastes like. It tastes like caraway seed. And it's an interesting flavor combination, but I really, really like it. The sour's in there. You get most of the sour up front. It's subtle. And then it marries with the mint. And it's such a unique flavor, that combination. But it goes very well together. It's very well balanced. This is a nice beer. It's very clean. It's 8%, and it is an IPA. It's just sour, so it kind of plays a little bit of a mind trick on you because most sours aren't that big and heavy, but this is a big ABV beer. Certainly appropriate for an IPA, but this has a body to it. It's got some substance. I would say it's at least a medium heavy body on this. It's definitely got some weight. The mouthfeel is kind of it's hard to describe the mouthfeel. It's so effervescent, like it just kind of bubbles all around in your mouth. But it doesn't have a super thick, viscous feel or quality to it. Though the flavors do absolutely really just kind of smatter the palate. They linger all over the mouth, so you can really pick all of those flavors out, which goes into part of what helps with that really, really long finish. But this is a very nice beer. I'm going to finish enjoying this over a bit of time here and really think on it as I come up to the scores. But for now, we're going to go ahead and move on to our second beer. That's going to be the Rare Barrel Entanglement, the Sour Golden Ale, aged in oak barrels and brewed with orange and vanilla bean. So we'll move on to that one next. All right, moving on to our second beer today. This is the Rare Barrels Entanglement, which is a sour golden ale. This one has been oak barrel aged and has orange zest and vanilla bean in the recipe. So this ought to be a really nice, interesting sour. Orange you get a lot in some of the German beers and some of the American beers. A lot of Hefeweizens will use orange. Christmas spiced beers will use orange. Certainly vanilla bean is very popular in stouts and porters and darker, richer beers, but I've never had the combination of vanilla and orange, and certainly never had either in a sour. Couple that with its oak barrel aging, this ought to be a very interesting, unique, and I suspect quite complex beer. So I'm really excited. Let's jump right into this one. Get this poured in the glass. Well, they've definitely named it appropriately. Golden Ale. It is definitely golden ale. In fact, this does not look dissimilar to a Goza or a Saison. It's very light. It's that classic pale straw color. I suspect that the camera's making this look many, many shades darker than it is in reality. It's a very light pale straw color, very light yellow. Almost has some slight greenish tint to it. It's that kind of light shade of yellow where it has just a hint of a limeish yellow color to it. Very light, very effervescent. The head formed nicely. It's got medium bubbles that are flowing in because it's so effervescent, but otherwise the main head is formed rather tight. But it's going to dissipate quickly just due to the bubble activity in there, a lot of carbonation. Let's give it a sniff, give it a little swirl. Okay. You can definitely smell the sour, very, very present on the nose. And the other thing that I notice here, just a hint of vanilla on the back, just a slight hint of orange you get on the nose, but the dominant aroma is sour, almost 50%, and then almost 50% is actually what the malts, at least from the aroma perspective, seem like they're going to bring to the table. It has that classic Saison farmhouse ale kind of smell about it where you get the bread crust and toast and kind of crummy, like I expect a rather brutish dry finish and with a finish similar to a Saison. Yeah, kind of excited to jump right in here. Head's already dissipated nicely. Let's give this a sip and see what this one's about. Oh, that's really nice. That's a very, very present sour and tart. A nice mix of sour and tart. And oh, once that vanilla kicks in, it is intense. Oh, man, I never expected that in a sour, and it pairs so well. That's quality. That tastes like Madagascar vanilla to me. That's really, really nice. That's such an ingenious flavor combination. It never even would occur to me. That's really, really nice beer. That's very well done. And the complexities that get in the back from the oak aging, this beer has a lot going for it. It is really, really complex. It is pungently sour and tart up front, pungently so. Very, very in-your-face sour and tart. Then it opens up. Behind that, it opens up into that citrusy squirt of orange from the orange zest that's in there. Then just a fistful of vanilla, and it lingers for days. It's what, been 20, 30 seconds since I had that sip? I can still taste that vanilla very, very present on my tongue. And it's blending very well with the flavors that get imparted naturally from its oak aging. It's got this nice earthy woodiness to it. It's got this rich, deep feeling about it. The way that the vanilla pairs with the oak, this is such a great flavor profile. I never would have thought about that in a sour, but I gotta be honest, that's a winning recipe. That is a really, really nice sour. I am really, really pleased with this one. This is fantastic. It's actually got a body to it too. It's got some substance. Got a very nice mouthfeel. They're both thicker than you would expect. Considering it's only 6% ABV, it's actually got some substance and some girth. The mouthfeel is very clean. It's very silky. It's nice, but it's got a little viscosity. And I think that's what's helping all of these flavors just stick all around the palate and all around the inside of my cheeks. It's all over my mouth. It would take me quite a while to get this flavor out of my mouth if I wanted to. Believe me, I do not. This is delicious, but this is a well executed beer. I'm really, really pleased with this one. That is fantastic. We'll come back at the end and get the full rating on it, but for now, I'm going to take my sweet time enjoying this giant bottle and get my scores worked up, and then we'll move on to the final beer of today's review, and that's the Prairie Artisan Rainbow Sherbet Sour Ale. All right, so for the final beer of today's Tavour review, which is a review of various sour beers, we move on to the Prairie Artisan Ales Rainbow Sherbet. This is a sour ale brewed with rainbow sherbet flavors. 5.2% ABV. Prairie Artisan is out of Oklahoma. The can is kind of neat. It's got some pretty interesting art. I'll see if I can hold that up if the camera doesn't totally glare it out, but it looks kind of like a psychedelic vision of Candyland or something. Really neat, very bright, very pink. But let's get this cracked. Get this poured in the glass. It's a very light color, but it's got a slight orangey pink hue to it, just a slight one. All right. Very, very effervescent. Yeah, very, very effervescent on this one. No real head, so to speak, but it's a sour you don't really need nor anticipate, nor do I personally like a big head on a sour beer, but poured very nicely. Smells very sour and very much like rainbow sherbet. I think they nailed kind of the description of this beer, and smells really good. Yeah, it smells really good. It smells just like rainbow sherbet. So anyway, let's just jump right in, see what this combination of flavors is about. Oh, that's nice. That's quite nice, actually. Wow, yeah. It's got a nice finish to it too. It's got a very malty, very bready, bread crusty finish on the front of these very bright fruit, sweet, fruity sours that just hit you right up front. So it's very sour up front. It tastes exceptionally fruity. It definitely tastes like rainbow sherbet, and it doesn't taste dissimilar to, I don't know, if you crossed rainbow sherbet with Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops, that's what this reminds me of in a sour beer form, and that's a compliment. It's really quite delicious. Yeah, big punch of sour up front, like really sour candy. And then it opens up to these flavors that remind me personally of Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops. And then that it opens up to this very grainy, malty, cereal dry finish that finishes with the flavor of the malts that's very crusty and bready and grainy. It really plays well onto that flavor combination of that fruity flavor that it reminds me of cereal. Like it's almost like drinking a sour Fruity Pebbles. It's great. I'm a fan. Body and mouthfeel wise, it's about average for a sour, I'd say. It sticks around in the mouth for the mouthfeel. It's got a little viscosity to it. The finish is very clean, very multi-layered. It's reasonably long. Maybe about 15 seconds overall for the entire ride, but it goes very succinctly in order. Pungent, sour, and tart into very, very fruity, into a mix of sour, tart, and fruit with grain starting to appear about midway, and it tapers off with the sour and tart just sliding out of the way while the fruit slowly dissipates and the cereal quality opens up even more. It's really nice sour. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's very well balanced for what they did with it, and it's a very interesting take on a sour, and I think it completely works. I'll come back through at the end and we'll get at the full rating, but for now I'm going to sip on this while I come up with the scores, and we'll see back here in a minute to see where all three beers stack. All right, now that I've gotten to thoroughly enjoy all three of these very delicious, very different, and also very unique sours, we're going to go through and get the points tallied and get these rated. So we started with the Evil Twin. This is their Sour Sun Saft. This is a sour IPA, 8% ABV. The aroma on this one was amazing. You could smell every bit of every player in this beer, and it was very, very pronounced. I gave that a perfect 10 out of 10. The taste on this, it was fantastic. I wasn't really sure how those flavors would blend in an IPA or in a sour, let alone merging the two styles, but it really, really worked far better than I anticipated. I gave that a 9 out of 10. For the body, it was nice. Considering that it was an IPA at its core that was soured with other stuff added and it had 8% ABV, there were a lot of fermentables in there. I expected to have a little more weight to the body. It was still well above average, but I only gave it an 8 out of 10 there. The mouthfeel was really nice. Again, well above average. I thought that it had enough viscosity to let the flavors linger, and they really got to develop and open up over time. And certainly it felt nice rolling around in there. I give that an 8 out of 10. The finish was great. It was very long and it was very, very layered. With mint and a black currant added into a soured IPA, very unique combination of flavors, and how this beer was stacked. Really all of those layers you got to experience for quite a substantial amount of time and pick them all out and how they interplayed and then pick them out individually over a very long, clean finish. I give that a 9 out of 10. For the head and the retention, this was great. IPA at its core, and it was a near perfect IPA head. I gave that a 9 out of 10. For the appearance, this was a really nice looking beer. As an IPA or as a sour, it would have been nice. But with the fruit addition in there, it really brought out this slight kind of pinky orange hue to it that was really lovely. I gave that a 9 out of 10. For the balance was nice in this beer. I thought that perhaps some of the currant could have been a little more forward, and maybe the mint could have been a little more forward, but the sour was there, and the IPA at its essence, it was hard to pick out any kind of hop character, and I think that maybe the souring just kind of overpowered it. It was still nice, you could get it, but an IPA, I think, bitter, and I just didn't get any of that sense, even though it was mixed with sour and other ingredients. So still above average, I gave that a 7 out of 10. The feeling, the intangible, I thought it was a really unique concept in a flavor combination I never would have considered, but it worked. I gave that an 8 out of 10. Finally, as an example of the style, an IPA in and of itself is one thing. A sour in and of itself is another. You put the two together, and it's a very unique combination, and certainly with the added black currant and mint, it really kind of kicked it up another level. I gave that a 9 out of 10. So that brings the total score on the Evil Twin Sour Sun Saft to an 86 out of 100. Moving on to our second beer. This one was another one that had some interesting flavor combinations I never would have thought of for sour. But indeed it ended up working, and it worked very well. This is the Rare Barrel out of California, the Entanglement. It's a sour golden ale at 6% ABV. The aroma was insane on this. You could smell the sour and the vanilla very heavily and start to pick up some of the notes that the oak barrel aging imparted. I gave that a 9 out of 10. The taste, I didn't actually expect I would think that this was a particularly great tasting beer. I was interested to try it, but the vanilla I was on the fence about it. Sour vanilla. I had nothing to worry about. It was absolutely delicious. It was a great flavor combination, and I think that oak barrel aging imparted some other characteristics that really helped pair well with that vanilla, kind of bring it and meld it together with the rest of this beer. And certainly the orange zest played its part as well. I gave that a 9 out of 10. The body on this was fantastic. It was almost perfect for a sour golden ale. I gave that a 9 out of 10. The mouthfeel as well, it was very silky smooth, and it really stuck around the mouth, so you could have a very good sense of all the flavors you were tasting. I gave that a 9 out of 10 as well. The finish on this, I think it was nothing less than perfection. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It was insanely long, insanely long. That vanilla just lingered for days on the end of that finish and let you kind of taste that orange zest in the back and all the oaky characters from the barrel. It was great. It had a ridiculously long finish. Perfect, 10 out of 10. The head and the retention on this, it was almost textbook for the style. I gave that a 9 out of 10. The appearance on this was a great looking beer. It really was a great looking beer. I only docked 1 point. I gave it a 9 out of 10. The balance on this one, as you might have guessed from the finish and kind of in tandem with other categories, but it was exceptionally well balanced. Everything played its part in perfect harmony. There was not much that I would have changed about this. I did give the balance on this a 9 out of 10. The feeling in the intangible, I gave this a 10 out of 10. I didn't expect to enjoy this as well as I did, but I really did enjoy it. I thought this was one of the best sours I've had in a very, very long time, and well-deserved 10 out of 10 there. Finally, as an example of the style, it matched my feeling in intangible. I give it a perfect 10 out of 10. As a sour golden ale on its own, this would be a fantastic beer, but with the barrel aging and the addition of the orange zest and the vanilla bean, it really took it to the next level, and I give it a perfect 10 out of 10. That brings the final score on this one to a 93 out of 100. And then finally, the Prairie Artisan Ales Rainbow Sherbet. This is a sour ale brewed with rainbow sherbet flavors, 5.2% out of ABV out of Oklahoma, excuse me. The aroma, it was insane. It smelled exactly as they named it, like a sour sherbet, and it was fantastic, 10 out of 10. The taste, you saw my reaction. I stand by it. I loved the taste, 10 out of 10. The body on it was nice, above average, but I only gave that an 8 out of 10. The mouthfeel, I did end up giving 1 point higher, a 9 out of 10. Had a little silkier mouthfeel, and it was nice the way that it rolled around the palate. I gave that a 9, and I think it's well deserved. The finish was very, very long on this, and it was also a well-balanced finish, which we'll get to that. But the finish really took you on a ride, and it let you pick out all the independent players that went into making what this beer is. And none of them overshadowed the other. It was very, very, very much in harmony, all of the different parts, and kind of got to take them on the ride from start to finish. And oh, there's that. And that's how that blends with that. That's how that blends with that. That's how the three of those characteristics blend together. Oh, I can taste that by itself now. Oh, now it's melding into this. It was really nice, very long, very enjoyable. 9 out of 10. The head and the retention on this, it was okay. It dissipated very, very quickly, but from the initial pour, it was above average for a sour. I gave that a 7 out of 10. The appearance, it was lovely. Almost perfect for me for sour ale. I gave that a 9 out of 10. The balance, as you might have guessed when I was describing the elements of the finish, the balance goes very much in tandem with that. And if it weren't balanced, the finish wouldn't be necessarily as unique and enjoyable, but it was ridiculously well balanced, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. Feeling in the intangible category, I gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. I really loved it. Interesting beer. I really enjoyed it, and I stand by what I said. Like a sour sherbet or Fruit Loops or Fruity Pebbles, kind of, that it really tasted like that. It was great. Finally, as an example of the style, I gave it a 10 out of 10. I loved it. Sour ales, there's a lot you can do with them, but I think that what they did with the rainbow sherbet flavors in this, and certainly in the malts they chose, it was exceptional, and well-deserved 10 out of 10 there. That brings the total score on the Prairie Artisan Rainbow Sherbet to a 91 out of 100. So yet again, 3 more beers I've never had before from Tavour, one that I've never even had a beer from this brewer, and all 3 of them were top-notch. These Tavour reviews I'm doing, I'm really enjoying them. I hope that they're giving you a sense of what kind of beers you can get your hands on through this company. It's fantastic. They have got top-notch stuff out there that you can't get any other way, and I'm really glad that they exist, because if you're a craft fan, what an absolute joy it is to have an inside line to getting your hands on this stuff. But that essentially wraps us for today. I had a lot of fun doing this one. I hope you learned something. I hope you found it entertaining. And as always, like, subscribe. We are a new channel. We're building our subscriber base. It really helps us get the word out there in the craft beer movement, and get other people out there involved to see what's out there, get them buying and thinking about other beers, and supporting other small local craft brewers. That's what it's all about, enjoying beer and supporting smaller businesses. Certainly, if you want to know when we drop our videos, you can also click the notification bell, and that will let you know as soon as our videos go live. And until next time, everybody, I thank you very much. Keep it beer, keep it craft. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.